with the Online Safety Act, online safety in general, because it's basically not happening fast enough. So you can see switching on very slowly at the moment. This is according to the Public Accounts Committee. So they have published a report called Preparedness for Online Safety Regulation. So let's have a look and see what they're saying. The public may be disappointed with the new regime if people cannot quickly see improvements to their online experience or understand how their complaints are acted on, as the regulatory regime will not be fully implemented until 2026. There's a risk that public confidence in the regime will be undermined. Now, if anybody's been watching the UK column for the last few years while we've been talking about this, I hope very much that public confidence in the regime has already been significantly undermined, because we would much prefer that the regime doesn't happen at all. But let's go on with what they had to say. This was the next bit. Ofcom has yet to work through the detail of how fees levied on industry will work, including how it will recover the setup costs and cover the ongoing costs of the regime. So the regime is going to be paid for by the platforms, apparently, and not the taxpayer, is what they seem to be hinting at. So maybe that's one benefit. But they go on to say Ofcom faces significant challenges about how it will engage with, supervise and regulate providers based overseas, which constitute the vast majority of regulated services, in particular smaller providers and those that may seek to avoid Ofcom's gaze. And of course, this is the biggest problem for them, because the likes of Facebook and so on will be quite happy because they've been engaged in this process from the beginning since 2017. They would be quite happy to do whatever the government asks them to do. X perhaps less so, but ultimately what they'll be required to do by this Online Censorship Act is to maintain a standard of their terms and conditions. In other words, if they say that they're going to limit certain types of speech, they will have to enforce that, and they will have to enforce that with the penalty of managers going to prison if they don't cooperate with Ofcom. We've covered that many times, but this issue of smaller providers, of course, this is the Rumbles of the world, who are still small, relatively speaking, to YouTube and whatnot, but certainly the UK government, or at least the Public Accounts Committee, extremely concerned that they will fall under the radar. Now, this is Meg Hillier, and this is what she had to say. Ofcom must accelerate its coordination with other regulators, both at home and overseas, in recognition that it is at the forefront of a truly global effort to strike the right balance between freedom and safety online. So this is what they're claiming that they're going to do, is strike a balance between these things. But it's a truly global effort. Ben, I realize I'm hijacking you once again here, but I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because this is something that they're trying to coordinate with countries in the European Union and the European Commission, of course, but also in the United States. And although it's a lot more difficult in the United States because of the protection of freedom of speech in the Constitution, they are attempting to bring in this Kids Online Safety Act in the US to try to bring the platforms more or less in line with other countries. But a global effort, it reminds me of the MHRA in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, what do they say? The safety of the public is the alibi of tyrants. I think that's the phrase. Who are these people? Where did they come from? Who asked them to do this stuff? I don't understand what's going on. Like, it's completely remarkable, totally unacceptable. Yeah, that's my reaction.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in the meantime, then, of course, GB News, which has effectively become a mouthpiece for the Conservative Party these days, nonetheless, as we know, is being investigated once again by Ofcom. But they have decided that they want to publish an opinion piece from Anna Firth, who's an MP, a Tory MP, of course, promoting the idea of the Online Safety Bill. So the Online Safety Bill is groundbreaking, according to her opinion piece. And she said this, the Online Safety Bill is a groundbreaking piece of legislation designed to protect children. Now, of course, we've been covering this for many, many years. And all the way through this process, we have made the point that the pretense of protecting children is what the Online Safety Bill has been created under, and now the Online Safety Act, of course. But this is not about protecting children at all. There are other ways to protect children already in existence. But anyway, She says, we face potential lag of 18 months until the benefits of it will be felt. She went on to say, Children's Commissioner Dame Rachel D'Souza quite rightly reiterated her calls for a comprehensive range of measures around safety by design, safety in schools, and parental education, preferably funded by the tech companies. Now, this issue of safety, of course, we saw what that brought us during COVID, because that was the safety, public safety was the justification for everything that happened there. And safety is the justification for everything that's happening around this censorship industrial complex that's being built. And this article from Anna Firth goes on to say, it also warned about the dangers of harmful AI and the metaverse. And this is staggering. The optics here are amazing because, of course, it's the Tory government, the current Tory government, of which she is a part, that is pushing AI so hard at the moment in the UK. So it is incredible to me that she is attempting to push this narrative. And then sort of in parallel with all this going on, of course, a week or so ago, we were pointing out that Tobias Ellwood had experienced a protest going on outside his house. Now, this has driven Parliament mad. And of course, that was part of the furore over Lindsay Hoyle and the Gaza vote and the actions that he took there, because he was saying that he did that in order to protect MPs. And he was expressing his deep concern that MPs are in extreme danger at the moment. So now they're talking about setting up exclusion zones around MPs' houses and around MPs' constituency offices. And it's the constituency offices thing, I think, is really problematic, because I think I can appreciate that MPs' families didn't sign up to have protests run outside their homes. I personally think that the Tobias Ellwood exercise was totally a false flag, in the sense that it was a staged event in order to bring forward this narrative, is my personal opinion. I don't have any particular evidence for that, but that's just my reading of events. But nonetheless, the idea of MP safety is now becoming a problem. And we've already, over the last number of years, seen a distancing between the public and MPs going on. This is going to become even more significant in the near future. But the fact that they're talking about exclusion zones around constituency offices and no right to protest outside a constituency office, this seems to be the wrong direction to be going in. But let's just finish with a little bit of video from James Cleverly. He was speaking on Sky, I think this was. Just have a listen to this.
Well, Lord Walney, who has himself been a member of Parliament and now advises the government on these issues, has put forward a report, which I've not had a chance to read in detail. But the headlines, I think, are important. And there is a requirement to protect freedom of speech, and that is very, very well protected in the United Kingdom. But there is also an absolute requirement to make sure that we defend democracy, that people who make decisions in government at whatever level are doing so based on their judgment, based on the information, based on their beliefs, not based on fear of reprisals. They absolutely must and will be protected from that.
So there you go. They're going to be protected from anybody telling them that they're doing the wrong thing or that they haven't been listening and so on. And they're going to make sure that they are protected from being told that they haven't been listening by making sure that they can't listen even harder, by separating the public from them even further. And you will undoubtedly have heard James Cleverly say with a straight face that the UK is protecting freedom of speech. I just find that quite an incredible statement from